This sharing being a part of the Genesis 129 Garden Series is featuring the banana blossom. Now, for this next sharing in the garden series, we're going to be taking a look at the banana tree. And in line with the passage in Genesis that herbs shall be for meat, the banana tree is not classified as a tree at all, but an herb, not having a hard wooden center like a tree, like that you would expect from a tree. So, as you see, they know where the good stuff is, my friends here. Now this delicacy, as we're about to see all of the different foods that we're able to make from a banana blossom, is a treasure trove when it comes to health. A complete powerhouse, renowned to not only combat things such as malaria, but also, just as a quick comparison, is proven to carry 56 milligrams of iron versus, for example, beef has 2. It's also renowned for easing menstrual cycle pain, assisting in producing milk for lactating mothers, and a whole spectrum of things which we will be getting into, including, of course, the great taste. Now the bananas that we eat actually begin as flowers that blossom from under the purple petals of the banana heart, and those flowers form into the food that we all have come to know. Soon we'll be seeing inside of the banana blossom, at the edible purple petals inside, the florets, and the center of the banana heart. The banana blossoms are packed with vitamins and minerals, such as having 73 milligrams of phosphorus, 48.7 milligrams of magnesium, 13 milligrams of copper, 56.4 milligrams of iron, 56 milligrams of calcium, and 553.3 milligrams of potassium. And as well as being a source of zinc, carries vitamins A, B, C, E, and K. Its medicinal properties results in boosting mood, is great for anxiety, is a natural antidepressant. It helps heal wounds and also strengthens and repairs tissue, is antiviral, is antimicrobial, fights off infections, bacteria, pathogens, and parasites. It reduces menstrual pains and also bleeding, is rich in antioxidants and thus anti-aging, and is also anti-cancer. Through its fiber content, aids in digestion and constipation, also aids in kidney function, and due to its abundance in iron, is great for those combating anemia, is also great for those with diabetes, is an anti-inflammatory and great for the prostate, ulcers, and is also a source of protein, and is renowned to be great for heart disease. Well, as you see, one is risking life and limb to bring you this footage. It's also an alkaline food, and on top of all of the health benefits, we'll be getting into all of the different meals, all of the different types of meat one is able to make, from the flowers to the very center of the banana heart. So it's certainly safe to call this a superfood. Now, without further ado, let's take it from the tree, if you will, to the table. And on top of making a great tea, there are a lot of different salad recipes and other types of recipes as well that include the banana blossom that we'll be sharing in the future. Now we will delve even further into the depths and the benefits of the diet of Genesis 1:29 by the grace of God. And just as you would be extremely mindful what kind of gas you place into a high-end vehicle, you must remember us speaking of your body, that is, as your vehicle. It is beyond any marker or type of vehicle you can imagine. It is the last thing God created. It is the crown jewel of creation before creation was dubbed very good. So now we will delve a little further into our Genesis and the significance of the diet given to us originally directly from God itself, outlined in Genesis 1:29. Our genetic traits passed down since Adam are a micro reflection of the macro of creation. And just as it states in the Sefer Yetzirah that God created the universe using 22 letters and 10 numbers, often called 32 paths of wisdom or creation, and a paralleled reflection of those 32 wonderful pathways. Scientific studies now show that the human body has 32 senses. And further reflecting God's design, we see that just as it is held that it created the universe using 22 letters, and in reflection there are 22 pairs of autosomes that make up our genome. And as a sweet signature of God itself, just as there are 64 possible permutations of the nucleotides that make up our genetic code, the four-letter Hebrew name for God having 3 letters in 4 different places is also a total amount of possible permutations that equal 64. So just as our genetic code is literally 64 codons to 22 actions, after seeing how Yahweh relates to the number 64 and knowing that God created the universe using 22 letters, we see a purely mathematical overlay of Yahweh to 22 letters, 22 actions in which it designed. And when we see that there are 7 factors within 64, not only is this in parallel with the 7 days of creation, but those specific numbers are part of the order shown within electromagnetic frequencies, such as with a piano, every 7th note increases at a factor at a power of 2. That same geometric sequence are the beginning stages of the growth of a baby's cell. We also see within the 7th note with a frequency of 64, just as the total permutations of Yahweh, the numbers 73 and 37 recorded under the semitone and tone numbers. These numbers, which reflect themselves, are the only ones that you can times together to get 2,701, the mathematical equivalent, the gematria of the first verse of Genesis. Not only is there a parallel in our DNA sending messages in 3-letter words and the Hebrew script being a triple root structure, but our very genetic code is in sync with the base 10 numeral system, just as gematria. Now with that needed grounding,
even at the chemistry level, we know it's about physics and it's about production of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, which is energy. And that process is not limited by time. It is only limited by the right molecules interacting in harmony to produce that energy. Do we understand the physics behind that? Because who created the physics? Well, it was God who created the physics as well as the chemistry.
And by the grace of God, today, in these days, we are able to see that the total molecular weight of all 20 amino acids is 2,738, which is 74 times 37, and is the 37th even number. The number 37 being scientifically proven to be synchronized with the structure of our very genetic code. And when we minus 37 from the total molecular weight of all 20 amino acids, 2,738 minus 37 equals 2,701. The gematria, or in other words, the mathematical equivalent to the first verse of Genesis.
Because who created the physics? Well, it was God who created the physics as well as the chemistry.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
A word on the beginning, very beginning of the Torah. The Torah begins with two words, Breshit bara. In the beginning, Hashem created. The word bara in Hebrew means to create, and created. The Ramban, Nachmanides says that the only word in Hebrew which implies ex nihilo, was created, creating something from nothing, is this verb bara, something from nothing. But most interestingly, the verb bara also means briut, which is health, good health. So that's why there's a word that people darshan, Breshit bara, the beginning of bara, the first thing is be healthy. That's the very beginning of the Torah. A healthy body and soul, according to the way that people understood the body and the soul to operate together, was when there is proper balance between the four humors. What are the four humors? The word humor is very close to the Hebrew word for it, which is mara. The four marot, it's called, and also the four elements of the ancients. Health, according to the ancients, is the balance of these four hormones, we'll call them, these four humors.
Now, as, of course, my angel knows, this overlays with the 4 nucleotide bases of our genetic code. As not only does the genome code for hormones, but hormones in turn regulate the genome. And it is renowned that outside of things such as aging or stress, diet very much affects hormones and gene expression. Once more, expression of our genome. And in further highlighting the depths of the connections within creation, once fully formed, the source of the symphony of our cells is from a base of 4 nucleotides, which code in triplets, in threes. As our code of communication, the original Hebrew comes from a triple consonantal root, as does our DNA communicate, sends its messages via that triple nucleotide sequence which forms a codon. Those communications in triple form from the base of 4. It is scientifically proven that the human genome is degrading, and when decay is projected backwards in time, it reaches perfection around 4000 BC, which approximates the creation of Adam and Eve.
The high degree of fidelity in transcription cannot
This
be
truth
random.
is an anchor of proof itself. Things such as cancers and the diseases and the dysfunctions that to some have become common do not have to be accepted as normal to our race, especially when one of the key factors, and perhaps the most foundational key factor, is in line, and that is keeping the diet of the angel. One of the most immediate and grounded factors that can be used as a pathway, as a portal to get you back to Eden, is the diet outlined in Genesis 1:29, the true fuel, the true diet of you and I, the angels. Parallel, in self-similar fashion to the Sefer Yetzirah, in where it is held that our literally almighty God created the universe using 22 letters and the numbers 1 through 10, are the 22 pairs of chromosomes within us, the crown jewel of God's creation. And in its profound precision and practicality, those 22 chromosomes plus our pair of chromosome which determines our sex are immediately accompanied by what is known as the mitochondria. The mitochondria breaks down and processes the energy from the foods that we eat and the fluids that we drink, so that literally our cells work properly. For so many years, there are those that have had to walk by faith and not by sight, and it is such a blessed honor to be able to display these revelations that have never been before, such as this perfect blueprint which we are about to go over now, in which how to properly fuel our Merkaba, the chariot in which we ride in which we reside within our literal angel bodies, just as it is held that God created the universe using 22 letters and 10 numbers. Here we see a self-similar overlay in that the 22 chromosomes of our genome, accompanied directly by the mitochondria, which is responsible for fueling our cells, fueling our bodies. Those 22 chromosomes, followed by that mitochondria, is a direct overlay of the 22 letters in which God created the universe, followed up by the encapsulating 10 utterances of creation, in which those 10 utterances directly outline the steps of creation, beginning with Genesis 1:1, and ultimately the 9th utterance, which is speaking of our creation, is immediately followed up with the 10th utterance, being Genesis 1:29, the outlining of the diet of the angel. So to review, directly after the holding of our creation is immediately how to sustain and fuel that creation, which is us, a direct overlay of the 22 chromosomes which make us up, immediately followed by the mitochondria, which is responsible for fueling and powering our bodies. And in the book of Micah, it is clear that the ancient Hebrews awaited a Messiah whose ways were from of old, from ancient times. And the Ebionim, renowned for a keeping of strict vegetarian diet and rejecting animal sacrifice, is in clear correlation with the first sacrifice done by Adam and being a non-animal sacrifice. And coming full circle to this holding brings all the more light to Adam being a calendar or clock in acronym form, standing for since Adam to David to Mashiach, Messiah, Christ. By the grace of God, Yahweh.